Need some last-minute fantasy football advice? Then the boys at the Fade Route have you covered. Check out Red Light, Green Light 1, 2, 3 with D and Z every NFL Sunday, noon Eastern during the regular season. D and I give you our top 1, 2, 3 fantasy starts or green lights, and our top 1, 2, 3 fantasy sits or red lights. That's Red Light, Green Light 1, 2, 3 with D and Z every NFL Sunday, noon Eastern during the regular season. That's Red Light, Green Light 1, 2, 3 with D and Z. Coming at you from the AO Studios, it's the Fade Route with D and Z. Here are your hosts, D and Z.
Powered by Riverside FM.
Coming at you live from the AO Studio.
Ayo.
It's the Fade Route with D and Z. I am D, and we got a great show for you tonight. The Pelicans are selling, Mahomes gets hurt, and the NBA Emirates Cup Championship is tonight.
Woohoo!
We'll begin today's show with exciting football weekend. The Lions and the Bills slugged it out in a potential Super Bowl preview. Josh Allen and the Bills prevailed with a 48-42 victory 1 week after losing to the sorry Rams. Dan Campbell had a questionable onside kick early in the second half that may have buried his team. So, Z, were you more surprised by the Bills' win or the Lions' loss?
Anytime your quarterback throws 5 touchdowns and you lose, you gotta be wondering what the hell's going on. At home, right? This team's built for a dome. Jared Goff, built for a dome. 5 tutties. And you lose? This guy threw 5 picks and they won. So there's something to be said about that. Now, I know you mentioned the Rams and how, the Bills and Rams got into a shootout last week, and, they're starting to click a little bit. Like, the Bills picked the Rams apart, man. Like, they were able to... they were still able to move the ball. That offense looks good.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said there. Like, they're trending in the right direction. Yeah, they lost to the Rams. The Rams may very well win the NFC West. Seattle's coming back to the pack. The Cards are the Cards, and the Niners are fucking done. I'm sorry. RIP to the Niners. It's over, Johnny. It's over. But you got to be surprised with what happened with the Lions. The aggression has now started to turn against them, right? You got Hutchinson hurt. Okay, your best defensive player gets hurt. Shit happens. But then you lose Montgomery. You lost Davis. You lost McNeil. Didn't you lose somebody last week? It's starting to add up. You're starting to get into Niner territory, my friend, except you're 12-2. And I'm starting to wonder if that aggression, if that mentality is going to bite Dan Campbell in the balls. And it looks like it is. He coached with his balls last year, and he lost in the NFC title game. In a game where they had the lead, and they frankly should have won. They should have beaten that Niner team. They should have done it, but they didn't. There is such a thing as too aggressive. There is such a thing as stupid decision making, and there's part and parcel of it. But we got to give a little bit of credit to the Bills. The Bills came out and punched the Lions in the mouth. It's not like they blitzed them. They got up early. Now the Lions, to their credit, came back. They made it a game. They made it a shootout. Defense, what the fuck is defense? 48-42. No defense to be had when you have a combined 90 points. No, sir. Jared Goff almost threw for 500 yards. Defense was not the order of the day. But, it's something to be, it's something to be said here that the Lions are starting to come back to the pack a little bit. The more these injuries mount up, the Bills we knew were formidable. The Lions, we hadn't seen them kind of punched around like this. Now, they did respond. They didn't win, but they responded. Now it's time for coach and defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn, offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. You got to figure some shit out, because now you don't have your backup running back, right? You don't have one of your better players in the secondary in Carlton Davis. Like, you don't have McNeil. You still don't have Hutchinson. Now you got to go to the drawing board. You got to figure this out, because don't look now, but the Eagles are in your rearview mirror, and they're closer than you probably would like them to be. So if you want that bye, I would suggest you figure this shit out ASAP.
Yeah, I'm gonna focus more on the Lions' loss, just because it's later in the season. And I think it was pretty impressive how the Bills were able to bounce back after losing to the Rams. They go to Detroit and beat a formidable Detroit team in Detroit. It's a hard place to win these days. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with the Detroit Lions, right? It's like what makes them so great is their aggression, their aggressiveness, their play calling. But I don't know what the right combination is for aggression and conservative and coaching that will help them advance in the playoffs. Like, they might now not get the number one seed because of what just happened against the Bills. Right. Like, now when you have a game in the playoffs and you're playing the Eagles at home or you're playing the Rams, are you going to be silly enough to call for an onside kick too early? Are you going to go for a 4th and 1 that you really shouldn't go for? Because these are the playoffs, and on any given Sunday, any team could win or lose. So it's who Dan Campbell is. It's who the Detroit Lions are. It's just not something that I would sign up for, right? It's not. I'm not going to put money on the Lions to beat anybody, because you talk about the Eagles being in the rearview mirror and getting closer. Man, the Vikings are right there. The Packers are right there. Like, these teams are in their division. They've seen them twice, or they will see them twice once the playoffs come around. And you're gonna have to beat this team for a third. You're gonna have to play this team for a third time without half of your defensive players, without your second best running back. Like, I'm not trying to spell doomsday for the Detroit Lions. It wasn't a bad loss. It was just, it's the way you lost. You couldn't stop them. You couldn't stop the Bills so bad that you're onside kicking with a whole quarter to go. Like, you've defined at halftime, we can't stop them. We're gonna have to try to outscore them. You're not gonna be able to do that against some of these better teams. I don't care who your quarterback is, your wide receivers are. I don't care how special your play calling is. If you can't control the clock and you can't stop anybody, that to me was a tell-all story about the Lions for this year. We can't stop anybody. We can't stop anybody. I don't think of the Bills as these world beaters.
No.
Man, you didn't have an answer for Josh Allen. You didn't have an answer for James Cook. They don't even have a wide receiver. And you couldn't stop them. Now, what happens when you play, I hate to say this, but a well-coached Packer team? Well, LaFleur has got his team playing really well. Well, they'll go into a game and we can run. We can throw it to all of our receivers. We can throw it to our tight end. And we play defense. We have one of the best secondaries in the league. Like, I don't know. I just think it's something. And on the Bills side, they're getting stronger towards the end of the season. They lost against the Rams, but man, they were going toe-to-toe. They couldn't stop anybody that day.
No.
They couldn't stop anybody that day, but they were going toe-to-toe with them, and they were scoring, and they were at will, and they ran out of time. And they weren't going to let that happen against the Lions. They got ahead of them, and the Bills too. The Bills couldn't stop the Lions. The Lions stopped themselves.
Yeah.
which is what you want your enemy to do, right? You want your enemy to make the mistakes. Billy Bean. Let them throw the mistakes. They want to bunt, pick it up and throw it at first. They want to go for it on 4th and 1, stop them. They want an onside kick, recover the ball. Simple shit. Simple shit. Let them make all the mistakes. We'll wait for them to make a mistake because they'll make a mistake. They'll gift us
Absolutely.
one. Their quarterback's thrown 5 interceptions in the game. He'll gift us one. They're down a running back. They'll call a 4th and 1 when Jabari Gibbs is gassed. You know?
Well, that's the other thing. That's an issue, and we got to start thinking about that from the perspective of Ben Johnson, right? He's Mr. Hot Shit Coordinator. Teams are watching. Teams are absolutely watching. And he has control of that offense. So if he looks like he's making panic decisions, if he looks like he's not in command of himself and of his team, that definitely, he's going to have some splaining to do.
I don't think it's panic decisions, Z. I think it's Dan Campbell telling him, I want to go for it. And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll go for it. I got 10 plays here we can run. Like, he's an offensive coordinator. I've never met an offensive coordinator that was like, we should punt. I don't think we got this.
I thought you worked with Shoddy. Wait a minute. I thought you worked with Brian Schottenheimer.
That guy. There was a way to beat that guy.
Just let him have the ball. So
there's A-gap son of a bitch.
So can I interest you in who the leading receiver was for the Bills this week?
James Cook?
Ty Johnson. Ty Johnson at 5 for 114.
Backup.
James Cook was the leader in rushing, but receiving was Ty friggin' Johnson. You know, you're kidding me. Like, your best receiver was a running back. So that goes to show you. And, you know.
But at least their leading rusher wasn't their quarterback.
That's true.
So the Bills have figured that part out.
Good for them. But, you know, they're going to need, the Lions, come playoff time, are going to need to play ball control. They're going to need to get more than 8 carries from their best running back. They're going to need to have balance.
He only ran the ball 8 times?
No, he only ran the ball 8 times. So Montgomery, that's huge. Goff ran twice. Montgomery ran 5 times. And they didn't break 50 yards. So at 15 rushes, less than 50 yards. That's, you know, kudos to the front 7 of the Bills, though.
And the thing about it is, there's no, I don't think there's a team in the NFC that's going to go into Detroit and say, shit.
Not anymore.
You know? Nah, I don't think there is. I think if you had a Green Bay Packer team going into Philly, they're like, fuck. You know, like, because it's not an easy place to go and play. They're really good. They have a lot of answers. They play defense. They do a lot of different things on offense. They're very creative with Kellen Moore. I don't think people are going to Detroit saying shit. It's not like last year, man. It's not. They've just got too many injuries. And speaking of injuries,
that train's never late.
Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs bested Cleveland in Cleveland on Sunday 21-7. Toward the end of the game, Mahomes hurt his ankle and had to be helped off the field. Early injury reports indicate the quarterback has a high ankle sprain and will be day-to-day. But Z, they have a pretty decent backup in Carson Wentz. So should the Chiefs rest Mahomes for a long playoff run or start the quarterback as long as he feels he can play?
They're playing Saturday, and then they're playing again on Wednesday.
Yeesh.
That's...
Pick one.
Yeah. Like, what do you... I mean, have him play on Christmas Day?
Pick one.
I mean, but you have enough on defense that Carson Wentz just turns the ball, hands the ball off to Pacheco, and you should be fine. I'm not saying you...
And Hunt. And Greeny.
And did you see they just cut Edwards-Helaire? That's, you know, he was...
I know. I was saying about that.
He was down to 5th string.
He was supposed to be the next Brian Westbrook, and he just... It never came to fruition.
The Lions need a running back. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Now, a guy like Devin Singletary would probably be a better fit than an Edwards-Helaire up in Detroit.
Motor?
Yeah. You're trying to replace David Montgomery in the aggregate. He's more of a physical running back than Edwards-Helaire is. So, you know, you're trying to replicate what Montgomery can do. But your schedule for the Chiefs: Texans, Steelers, and then Broncos, possibly with a playoff spot on the line. Possibly with a first-round bye on the line. Mahomes is playing in 2 out of those 3 games. I would say the best course of action for the Chiefs, sit him against the Texans. I'm not saying it's not a give-up game. You have Carson Wentz. Yeah, I talked a lot of shit about Carson Wentz, but you know what? There are worse quarterbacks out there to have as your backup. The Giants have like 4. So, you know, would I like Carson Wentz on the Giants right now? Yeah, probably.
No, he
wouldn't. No, he'd be in a full body cast. But if you're gonna chalk one up and try and win with your defense, I got to say that Houston is the way to go. Mahomes is probably going to get the crap kicked out of him by the Steelers. That's between a high ankle sprain and his right tackle. I mean, they're gonna have a field day. So maybe that's a little Christmas present to Mahomes. Maybe you sit him that day. But he's got to play 2 out of these 3. You choose. You have the luxury because you're 12-1. You call your shot. If you're Andy Reid, you choose. You know, when do you want to do it? But I think 2 out of 3 he's got to be in. And I think he has to be in that last week of the season. I think so. Just to kind of get right, because then he's going to be off for a week if they clinch the number 1. So you want him in some sort of rhythm. You want him to be able to kind of get the shit right and get everything back into rhythm. So it's an issue with Patrick Mahomes. This is his 2nd or 3rd high ankle sprain. He's had turf toe. He has a history of foot problems. This has definitely plagued him throughout his career, and you knew it was coming. I don't know if it's enough to derail the momentum. I don't know if it's enough to derail the season, because we've seen Patrick Mahomes move on 1 foot. We've seen him do it. So I think he's got to play 2 out of 3. Roll the dice, take your chances. I would say skip Christmas, but hey, that's me.
So you're playing him this weekend, but you're not playing him on
I
Christmas.
think it's a softer matchup with Houston than it is with Pittsburgh.
Houston is 2nd in the league in sacks.
Pittsburgh is not. Pittsburgh's up there too. So
yeah,
and then so is Denver.
The Broncos don't fuck around either.
So I mean,
all right. No,
so
okay.
no, I mean, you could probably get away with Christmas because as we saw from the Eagles game, the Steelers offense still isn't great. You could probably survive.
Yeah,
you can definitely survive.
It's a tough call for me. It's not so cut and dry. Because let's see, they have a 2-game lead right now on the Buffalo Bills. And they already know that they can go to Buffalo and win.
Yes.
They've done it. Right? Yeah. I gotta be honest. If I was the coach, I might sit him for the next 2 weeks.
2 in a row. Interesting.
I think I might. Just because it's so close. Like, I could get him some real serious rest if he didn't play Saturday and he didn't play Wednesday. I'm giving him essentially like 2 weeks off. And that goes far. And then he comes back for the Bronco game, which is the most important game. It's a divisional game. You have the chance to knock the Broncos possibly out of the playoffs. And it's a good tune-up before they go to the playoffs. I don't want him going up against the Texans. And I don't want him going up against the Steelers in the condition he's in. What makes Mahomes so good is his ability to scramble and throw the ball to the open receiver. I don't know if he's capable of dropping back and throwing the football like Justin Herbert. I don't think he is. I'm just being honest. And it's not like I got Chad Henne back there. I mean, I got Carson Wentz. I got a guy who could play. I think Carson Wentz could win against the Texans at home. I don't think he can go to Pittsburgh and win, but he can beat the Texans at home. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to count on winning 2 out of 3 and hopefully still getting that 1 seed and hoping that maybe the Bills trip up, or if they don't and they get the tiebreaker, whatever. I know I can go and beat the Broncos. I can go and beat the Texans. Like, I know when my team's at their best, we can beat these guys.
That's all fair, but you have to wonder if you slip up enough. Now, if there is a possibility you go 0-3 with a compromised Mahomes and with a Wentz situation, right? Denver's going to have their back against the wall. They're playing for something. The Steelers are playing for something. They're playing for the AFC North title. Possibly losing to the Ravens, right? Now, the one saving grace is that they're going to be on short rest too. So that's going to be an ugly fucking game. Merry Christmas, America. You're going to get some...
That's the problem, though, is like everybody on their schedule needs to win. You're going to be getting everybody's best.
And you've been getting everybody's best all year because you're the reigning defending champions. The Bills, I got to say, they're going 3-0, man. Like, you got 2 against the Patriots and you got the fucking Jets.
Paper planes.
So you got...
In Buffalo.
If they do any worse than 3-0, Sean McDermott, you should be ashamed of yourself. The Patriots stink, and the Jets aren't any better. So
they're rolling. The Bills are rolling.
So it's up to them to strike while the iron's hot. This could be a ship's passing situation. Absolutely could.
What do you mean by that?
Bills ascend, Chiefs descend. Chiefs have a tougher schedule. It's very possible. Like, they get punched in the mouth, especially with this injury. You have to play Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz doesn't have the cleanest medical history either. So who's to say?
Nope.
Like, who's? But
everything seems to be sliding in the Bills. Everything's been sliding in the Chiefs' favor all season.
This is the first taste of adversity.
They've been very fortunate in everything that's happened to them.
Well, it's the same thing with the Lions. The Lions rolled off, 10 wins in a row? Something like that?
But they didn't lose. Like, not all of their games were like one possession.
No, they were
games.
destructions. They were absolute friggin' destructions. They put 50 burgers. So, everything was coming up aces for them too. And now all of a sudden, can you weather the storm? So, it's better to peak at the right time. And it makes you wonder, you start to question, have these teams already peaked? And, with the Chiefs, we've seen the reserve they have. That's the one thing that gives me pause about this. We've seen it like 4 or 5 times now. Like, that's the championship resolve that we don't know if the Lions have. But I got to say, it's going to be the last 3 weeks of the year. I am glad that whoever sat down and did this schedule, whoever the AD is, really good job. Good job. This is gonna be some entertaining shit. So definitely make sure you have your popcorn ready.
Step outside of your safe area and make a statement without saying much with FCK Clout Lifestyle Apparel. Embrace the colorful chaos and stay emotionally regulated in their graphic tees, hoodies, snapbacks, accessories, and more. Go to fckclout.com today and check out current season and past season merchandise for men and women. Get it while you can. That's fckclout.com. Check them out today. fckclout.com.
You sound excited. Get excited.
I'm excited.
The Emirates NBA Cup Championship. It's tonight. It's right now.
Great.
The Bucks square off against the Thunder in what could be actually an NBA Finals preview. But how did you feel about the second year of the NBA Cup? And who
Wake
you got
me up when
tonight?
it's June. Wake me up when it's fucking June.
Word.
Get out of here with this shit.
Word.
It's not real. It's not real. Oh, the Lakers get to put up a freaking banner in the rafters. Oh, it was an NBA Cup championship. 3 out of the 4 semifinalists were what? 2 games over 500? It's like 14-10, 14-11, 14-12, some shit like that. And then you have the one team that's rolling in the Thunder. The one saving grace is that it might have woken the Bucks up. The Bucks actually starting to look good. The Bucks are starting to look good.
And the commissioner would probably tell you that's what this is all about. I don't know, Z. It's to me, I had no interest in it last year. I have even less interest in it this year. There's just nothing on the line. It's just, why do we have to pay these guys to win a game or play in this? Like, why is it that $500,000 and goes to the winner? Like, isn't that what the paycheck's for? That's what the money's for, right? Isn't that what their regular paychecks are
Andre
for?
says.
So they're constantly, so technically they're getting less than their regular paycheck to play in this fucking game. I don't know. They gotta figure something out. It's just not working, Z. It's not like, I think I sent you a clip maybe last week or 2 weeks ago where the Lakers and some team just kept shooting 3-pointers back and forth. There's no effort. And I'm starting to take the whole Dan Patrick perspective of, they don't care, so why should I care? Like, there's no hustle. Most of the people are just shooting threes. There was recently 2 teams broke a record for like the most threes attempted in a game. It was like over 87 threes.
Attempted. How many were made? That's the thing. Volume shooting, man. So welcome to...
It's just shoot.
And Jeff Pearlman, author of The Bad Guys 1 and the Walter Payton memoir and Barry Bonds,
Three Ring Circus.
He actually had a really good thing, a really good TikTok. He's a great follow. We're a pretty good follow, but Jeff Pearlman's a great follow. He told a story about how he plays pickup basketball out in California and how Steph Curry has ruined pickup basketball because everybody just wants to jack up shots, regardless if they're a shooter or not. Regardless if they're good or not, they're just going to shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot. And damn if we drive to the basketball, damn if we dribble and kick, damn if we do anything fundamentally resembling motion. You know, I'm coaching girls varsity basketball this year, and they play harder. They play more physically. They go to the basket more than I see in an NBA game. So kudos to the AMSU Lady Bears. Good for you guys. 2-2 on the year. Got a matchup tomorrow. We got a pivotal matchup before break. But let's go. So it's the shooting, man. Like it's like the whole chicks dig the long ball thing. Fans dig the threes. It doesn't make for a good product, though. It just doesn't.
I gotta ask you, Z, what do you think the NBA is gonna do when LeBron, Steph, Kevin Durant are gone? Because within 5 years, all those players are gonna be gone. Who's gonna carry this league? It ain't gonna be Joker.
They're selling you on Anthony Edwards. They're selling you on Trae Young. They're selling you on SGA, who might actually be worth it. Of the three, he might be the most worthy of that. Before the whole gun thing, they were selling you on Ja.
Which is not going to work because you can't rely on him.
Absolutely not.
But that whole thing with Anthony Edwards is pretty much over because this year, have you heard anything from him?
No,
I haven't.
The Timberwolves are dog shit.
Him. All right, and SGA, I mean, maybe, but can you compare SGA to somebody who played like 20 years ago? Was he like Dominique Wilkins? Like, who are we comparing SGA to? I think Adam Silver has a lot of work to do because, I mean, listen, we give Rob Manfred a lot of shit, right? We do.
Rightfully so.
Dude tried some things, and most of them suck. But some of them have cut the game down in time, which is what he was trying to do. It's made it more exciting with base stealing, which is what he was trying to do. Yeah, the golden bat's stupid, but I don't like the pickoff rule, and I don't like the reliever rule. But he put 5 or 6 things into this game, and for a purpose, and he's gotten some results from that he wanted. Can anybody really say that the NBA Cup in its second year is really driving ratings? It's really who gives a shit if the Milwaukee Bucks win tonight? Who cares? What does that do? The Lakers won last year. They didn't even make the playoffs. Right. Or if they were in the playoff game, oh wow, Michael Penix Jr. has been named the Falcons starting
Breaking news, folks. Oh shit. Whoa. That is huge. Whoa. Huge.
Whoa. Against the New York Giants.
They figure they can beat him with a rookie.
Wow. So anyway,
we'll talk more about that in a second. Okay, yeah.
Adam Silver, I mean, I don't know. I don't really have an answer. I mean, I know that they were talking about making the court more interactive. They're changing the All-Star game this year again. We're going to talk about that later, but you have to give this game more value than a jackpot at the end of it, because I don't give a shit about their jackpot. I don't really care if they're making more money or not. That's like a Pro Bowl thing. Who cares? Maybe if you win the NBA Cup, then you can pick which seed you have in the playoffs. 3 through 6. You can have any seed you want. You decide who you're going to play in the first round of the playoffs.
No, there's got to be something to it.
Maybe that.
Well, that's the thing. They took this idea from European soccer, right? They have in-season tournaments all the time.
Which is terrible. Why are you're the NBA. Why are you taking ideas from soccer fucking leagues?
You know what?
What's the matter with you?
But here's the thing. Here's what they do. And this is how it's different. The NBA, in their infinite wisdom, decided these are going to count towards the regular season schedule. When the FA Cup is going on, or when the Champions League is going on, when these other tournaments are going on, they don't count towards Premier League, or they don't count towards Serie A or Bundesliga. It doesn't count towards your overall record. It doesn't make any sense for it, because at that point, what is this really if it counts towards your regular season and the NBA Cup? It means nothing then. It's absolutely just an illusion, right? And then you're playing on these different colored courts, and it's a clown show. It
is. It's so gimmicky. Like they're a minor league basketball team. Like I'm going to see the Tropics out there. Shit.
But at the end of the day, when it comes down to the FA Cup, you're going to have a champion. Yeah, it's not of the overall league. That's what the league championship is for. The Premier League is its own thing, right? League One is its own thing. But you do have this sub tournament. But that's what it is. It's a tournament. And when it goes down, the other teams don't play. So if you're involved in the FA Cup, Premier League isn't going on simultaneously. Or if you're in Champions League, it's not going on simultaneously. So
they can't even get their players to play.
Did you hear? Joel Embiid has already been eliminated from MVP. He really? Missed his 18th game. He's done. Kawhi Leonard is done. These guys can't be eligible for the awards.
Even get their players to play. Just I'm just not interested. I just don't. I watch for to talk on this show, but there's no interest in a regular season NBA basketball game.
None.
Just because I don't even know who's gonna play in it. I don't even know who's gonna show up. Who's gonna have back tightness that morning is not gonna be able to play, or who's gonna be in the second game of a back to back, and it's hauling it in. Like, I don't
We
know.
know it's not Joel Embiid. That's for fucking sure.
Right. And who now has like a facial fracture.
Yeah, orbital
right?
bone. Friggin'
Nice.
This guy's made of fucking glass. It's unbelievable. Glass and sugar.
Well, it's just that he's taken a lot of beatings. I mean, we've been talking about it since we started this podcast. Dude hits the ground a lot. Dude is constantly getting contacted in a violent way. And for a big man, that shouldn't be the case. You're supposed to be delivering the blows, not receiving them.
No, you're absolutely right. You know, let's speaking of blows, let's just talk about the Kirk Cousins thing that just broke. You know, Penix is going to start.
Wild.
You know, he's been throwing a lot of picks lately. He signed that monster contract, got guaranteed money. Do you think he's getting traded in the offseason? Like, what do you think is going on?
What's going to go on? I don't really know. I mean, yeah, and they just won. They just won. And I think he's got 1 touchdown and 7 interceptions in like the last 3 or 4 games. It's pretty damn bad. It's not. I mean, listen, they're playing the Giants, so this is a good game to roll Penix out in. The only thing I would say is if you were going to go with Penix, you probably should have did it like 2 or 3 weeks ago. You know, on your bye week, get him ready to kind of gear him up to play in this game. Just, you know, I don't know how much I agree with that. But then again, you would assume these coaches are watching him in practice and seeing the development that you expected. But this was just a big waste of money, right? It's just like, why did you get Kirk Cousins? Why'd you bring him here? What was the point of this? Like,
We said it when they drafted Penix number 8. Like, if you knew this was the route you were going to go, why the hell did you sign Kirk Cousins?
What?
He's not a bridge quarterback. Sam
to.
Darnold is a bridge quarterback. You don't sign Kirk Cousins. You don't invest in Kirk Cousins and then
pay him that much money to just. What do you do? He's going to play, 5? He played, 10 games? 14 games? 14 games?
Yeah. So let's see. I mean, it's the picks, man. 18 touchdowns, 16 picks. Like, that's inexcusable. That's inexcusable for him.
But he's also coming off of Achilles injury, and he had less time than Rodgers to rehab and recover from. I'm not giving him a slide, but this was another thing. It's like Minnesota. Like, if you're Atlanta, why are you going to get this dude coming off of an Achilles injury?
I gotta.
He's not that. He's never been that good. He's always been.
He's a game manager. He's in that game manager. He'll win you a game.
He's good enough to get you beat. He's good enough to get you beat.
He's just another guy.
He's good enough to get you beat. He's just a guy. You could have had Baker Mayfield. You could have had Sam Darnold. You could have had all these different guys. So and you decided to go sign this dude.
So my question to you is, what's his market? What's the market for him? Like, who's
sounds like a New York Jet to me.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, he's shit.
How about the New York Giant? If you're gonna draft a quarterback, you bring in Kurt. Kurt knows how to play quarterback.
Kirk Cousins, behind that offensive line,
he's a Carolina Panther. He knows the division very well. Just played in
Kirk Cousins is intriguing to the Giants from the standpoint that he can deliver the balls that Daniel Jones couldn't. You put him there with Tyrone Tracy, he's healthier. I don't hate it. I don't like him. I think he's fake. What they accused Russell Wilson of being. Like, I think he's very phony. But as a person, as a quarterback, like, fine, whatever. Like, I've been watching Daniel Jones. Like, you know, I'm starved at this point. I'm but
who's in street clothes?
Oh God, fucking, he's Anthony Davis. That's fantastic. But I don't know. I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind that. Would he fit in with the Raiders? They're probably taking Sanders or Ward, whoever's left over. I mean, the market is.
He's the veteran. He's a veteran quarterback who will help your rookie quarterback figure shit out.
So Raheem Morris,
Kirk Cousins is not winning a Super Bowl. He's not winning an MVP trophy. He's not winning comeback player of the year. He's never been that good. He's never been good.
You figure
he just came from a situation where he had Justin Jefferson and Addison and all these stars in Minnesota. He had Dalvin Cook for a couple of years. Thielen and didn't win shit. So why would you think that if you brought him to your team that you'd win? I never understand that shit.
Because you're so starved,
Like,
man. That's the thing.
Aaron Rodgers didn't win in Green Bay with his Devontae Adams, his Aaron Jones, and the other guy he brought over to the New York Jets. Why is he going to win for the New York Jets? Why is it going to work here? It didn't work there, but why would it work here? I don't get it. Peyton won in Indy.
Yeah.
Went to Denver, won. Tom won in New England. Went to Tampa and won.
Right.
Matt Ryan didn't win with the Colts. I mean, with the Falcons. Why would Matt Ryan win with the Colts? Joe Flacco won in Baltimore. Okay? He played very well for Cleveland. He played very well for the Colts. If you can't win there, why are you going to win here?
I don't know.
Change the scenery. He doesn't do much.
And he downgraded in talent. Like you said, he went from Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison to Drake London and Kyle Pitts.
Yes.
And if he were to go to the Giants, if he would upgrade, he would re-upgrade to Malik Neighbors and Darius Slayton. Like, I'm not trying to get on this bandwagon of Kirk Cousins to the Giants, but you know, it makes a lot of sense. You know what else makes a lot of sense? Kirk Cousins to the goddamn Titans, because anybody is better than the situation they got going on right now. Like, you can't get any worse. So that's the thing. And if you can get out from under this onerous contract, you would. You would. But you figure, like, Arthur Blank and Raheem Morris, they sat down and they had this conversation, right? Just like, Mr. Blank, Arthur, Art, Dad,
Artie.
This guy's fucking killing us. I know you just paid him. He's fucking killing us.
We just watched the tape. He's fucking killing us.
So, with your blessing, we would like to sit him down. I know you paid him a fuck ton of money.
We'd actually like to take him out back and shoot him, but
we can't do that.
Those kind of things are frowned upon in these
even
parts.
in the South, where open carry, it's still illegal. It's still illegal. So, can we do this, and then we'll figure it out? And if Penix does well, we'll just jettison this guy. Is that okay? So, it's a hell of a breaking news story.
Hey there, NFL football fans. This is the lovely Rita Sanchez, aka your option football champ for the 2023 NFL season. I'm inviting you to join us for the 2024 option, where we pick the winning teams for each week's matchups and compete against each other to see whose picks reign supreme. Are you in? Head over to CBS Sports and search for the Option 2024 League, or hit the link in the bio on the Fade Route socials and join today. It's for free. Pick a witty name, some winning teams, and I'll see you out there for week 1.
It's hard to segue back to the NBA, but we were talking about potential trades. So, hey, there's an avenue. Let's talk about the Pelicans. They stink. 5-22. They are god fucking awful. So, Brandon Ingram, Zion, CJ McCollum, they're all available. Who should call the Pelicans about their core players?
How about the Knicks trying to get Ingram?
I was thinking that.
I just think he's a very good basketball player, and so it's just for that reason. He's a scorer. He's lengthy. He's got length. He can shoot. He can play defense. You know, I just think that he's got a lot of talent. I would think that, I don't know. I mean, a team like the Thunder could be interested in a guy like Zion if they're worried about Chet. I think McCollum, I think the Golden State Warriors should consider him. Dallas Mavericks should consider him.
What about the team like the Heat?
The Heat?
But they're also rumored about
the
dealing Jimmy Butler. I'm confused what the Heat are doing.
I feel like the Heat are sellers, honestly. But yeah, I think the Heat should be interested in a guy like Ingram. You know, he's another scorer.
What if you
you got to figure out how you're going to beat Boston if you're in the East. If the Bucks are worried about Chris Middleton, go get McCollum. He's played with Dame before. You know, the rich get richer in this. I think it's just crazy because this, you botched this. You could have got top dollar for Zion like 2 years ago, and it was pretty evident that he wasn't going to be anything 2 years ago. Like 2 years ago, we knew. Like, yeah, when he plays, he's great.
It's the when he plays.
Kind of like Riverside. When Riverside works, it's great. Riverside. But, with this guy, he can't stay healthy. He doesn't have a diet. And his explosion is really just 3 to 5 feet from the rim. He cannot shoot.
So, here's an idea. And I'm going to just see.
Take him out
No.
back and shoot him?
No. I mean, they may want to, but that's not going to happen. What about the Lakers? Would you have any value there over Hashimura, over a guy like Reddish?
Would who?
For Zion. Would there be a fit there?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so because I feel like they had Randall at one time, and he's basically just a lesser version of Julius Randle. Like he can't shoot. Randall can shoot. He's big like Randall, but he don't do everything Randall does. And they got rid of Randall. They had Brandon Ingram at one time. Yeah, they got rid of him too.
That is true.
It just seems like the Lakers should just be. I think LeBron needs to have an honest conversation with everybody in the Lakers. Just say, hey guys, kind of do the Billy Bean thing. We're not gonna be good this year. We're just not. It's over. So AD, is there a place that you'd like to play? Do you want to get traded somewhere? Because it's over. It's over. They're terrible. And then they should just make this about him and Bronny. Bring Bronny up. Bring Bronny up, man. Just bring him up and let him play. Because this is all it's just a joke. Just bring him. He dropped 30 in the G League last week, I think, a couple days ago.
He sure did.
Bring him up, dude. Go nuts. Go ham. Throw him oops. You play basketball with your son in a professional basketball game because that's what this is all about. Unless LeBron comes to grips with the situation and he asks to be traded, which I think he should do the Lakers a solid and be like, hey guys, trade me because we ain't going to win. They ain't beating anybody. There's nobody they can beat with this roster. And their GM could make all the moves he wants. They can slide into that 8th spot. They can win the play-in games and all that. They're not winning a championship with this roster. No way, no how. So, just be honest about the situation, call it a day, and move on.
I mean, as presently constituted, they're only 2 games over 500. They're in the 10th spot. And they will have narrowly squeaked in the playoffs for a 3rd consecutive year, or the play-in tournament for the 3rd consecutive year. So that's kind of where they are. They're on this treadmill of mediocrity. It might be worth a shakeup. It might absolutely be worth a shakeup. I mean, you're going to have some pretty decent players available, right? You figure that the Blazers are probably going to start trying to move assets too. They have DeAndre Ayton. Maybe they'd like to recoup something for that. They try that experiment. They're 10 games under 500, so they're not necessarily having a good go at the moment. Reconsidering Scoot Henderson. So there's a lot of things that are going on out there. Maybe that's a shakeup that needs to be made. The Zion thing, it's like, what does he bring to the table? And what role is he going to play? He's not going to be the star of your team if you acquire him. You can't trust him to be the star of your team because of his injury history. So then what is he going to be? A reserve forward? Like a guy to bring you physicality and to work down low? Is that what you're getting him? Is that what you're getting him for? So then maybe, the Thunder would be a good matchup, absolutely. Because, like you said, Chet Holmgren's not going to be there. Hartenstein is providing that, but you could always use a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, the Bucks make a lot of sense. The Bucks absolutely make a lot of sense, but what are you going to give up to get them? That's the question. Even if the team like Miami is a seller, is there a way that they can kind of retool on the fly? And the NBA is the league of 3 and 4 team trades. We see it all the time. Could it be possible that teams, work with the Pelicans in order to facilitate this so that everybody gets what they want? Pick swaps, players to buy out, all sorts of things, right? Like, you can end up with, like, for example, because the Knicks and the Heat aren't going to work a trade together. It's the Knicks and the Heat. They're not going to do it. But you run it through New Orleans, it becomes a little bit more palatable. So, or you have a situation where, Lonzo Ball's available. Maybe you are working within the framework of that. How to get Lonzo Ball to another organization while moving Zion as part of the money package. Like, how are you making this work? Because Lonzo's available, and I know that they would love to get out from under that. So we definitely have to watch this space, because a lot of moves are going to start coming as teams rapidly get out of it. Right? You have the Sixers, who are already out of contention, 8 games under 500, the Hornets, the Raptors, the Wizards. You got the Pelicans, the Jazz, the Blazers. You said it best before. The rich are going to get richer in deals like this, because the 50 feet of crap and then everybody else. Right? The have-nots are very pronounced this year. So big names are...
They're pronounced every year. Every year, dude. The NBA has such a disparity in talent. And it's just... It's every year. By, April? Probably the end of March. We already know who's in and who's out.
But, teams do bubble up from time to time. Like, look at this year. If the season ended today, and I know that's a trite statement, the Bulls and the Pistons would be in the play-in tournament. So the Pistons have been in the wilderness for years. Like, Cade Cunningham, like, he's finally, like, doing some things. Like, they're actually, like, starting to move and trend in the right direction. So, yeah, the haves and the have-nots are very pronounced, but every once in a while, the have-nots figure it out. And, I mean, look at the Sacramento Kings. Sacramento Kings a couple years ago were, 4th in the West? So, like, we definitely have to watch, because things are going to get shaken up, deck chairs are going to get rearranged, and ships are going to start sinking, and then our tide's going to float the rest of it. So we're going to see what's coming of this. But the Pelicans, yeah, I think it's safe to say that's getting blowed up. It's going to get straight blowed up.
When owning a home, it's important to have heating and cooling professional available when things go wrong. Air Care Technicians is a veteran-owned HVAC company servicing the Westchester area. They are licensed to service, repair, maintenance, and replace all HVAC units. If your unit is not running properly, or you would like to improve the air quality in your home, contact Air Care Technicians for a free quote. They offer same-day and emergency services for all of your needs. You can reach them at 914-315-1547. Air Care Technicians, 914-315-1547.
fair or foul, judging the more messed up stories of the week.
All right, boys and girls, we have a statement, and it's either fair or foul. Fair or foul, number one. The Cody Bellinger trade makes the Yankees the team to beat in the American League.
I wouldn't say they're the team to beat. I mean, I think they got him for like a ham sandwich, right? It's $5 million.
Another dude named Cody.
Some shitty relief. And another dude named Cody. I have to say, I mean, as much as I dislike the Yankees, they've made some decent moves for not getting Soto. They've bolstered their pitching staff. I mean, they landed Fried. They went and got Devin Williams. Now they're getting Cody Bellinger, so I guess he's going to protect Judge. Not exactly Soto material, but I would assume they're also going to try and get Bregman. I don't think Cody makes this thing fair, so I'm going to say foul. But I do like the moves the Yankees have done so far this offseason.
The Yankees are making the necessary moves because their starting rotation beyond Garrett Cole is a question mark. Like, Luis Gil was probably the most reliable of the bunch. He hit a wall last year in the middle of the year and then proceeded to disappear in the playoffs. So for some reason, they just would not go to Luis Gil, even though he was their best pitcher all year long. You know, rookie of the year, that guy. So, Rodon, meh. Fried, let's see. Nestor, vaya con Dios. They sent you to Milwaukee. Now, chances are he's going to get designated for assignment. He'll get reclaimed by the Yankees. That's what happens with Nestor Cortez. This is the third time he's left the organization. And it's like Thanos. Where did it lead you? Back to me. So they can't, they're like magnetized to each other. And then you got Clark Schmidt and Marcus Stroman. So the Yankees have depth. It's not very good depth, but it's depth in your rotation. I mean, I'm not exactly thrilled about the prospects of Stroman or Schmidt being at number 5. I think you could probably use another arm there. The Devin Williams trade is interesting. That Airbender plays in Milwaukee. I don't know how it plays in the short porch in Yankee Stadium. We saw what happened when Pete Alonso took that sucker over the wall. So, chef's kiss. It was beautiful. So, I mean, the good thing is that Brian Cashman is making these moves, and he's not giving up the farm. So, like, the biggest prospect he's given up is Caleb Durbin, who's already 24. So he's a year younger than Juan Soto. Something to think about. Yeah, he's tearing up the Arizona Fall League. But, the Arizona Fall League ain't Major League Baseball. So we're going to see what Caleb Durbin is. I do have to say it's foul. The team to beat has not been determined yet. We're still in friggin' December. People are like anointing the Mets because they got Juan Soto, or anointing the Yankees because they got... It's not done. Nothing is done yet, right? Teams are in the process of forming. The Red Sox don't look like they've done much. The Orioles signed Sugano. Okay. They're not done. The Royals were in the American League Championship Series last year. You make a couple of additions, they could be the team to beat. The Blue Jays could blow it up, or they could double down. We're not done yet. And the Astros, yeah, they traded Kyle Tucker. Yeah, they did. Isaac Paredes isn't a bad player, and I'm sure that they can find ways to add. So, it's still way too early. So, foul. Fair or foul, Number 2. A young Alex Rodriguez would have fetched more money on the open market today than Juan Soto did.
Ooh.
Now, to be fair, to clarify, this is pre-juiced A-Roy. Pre-juiced.
No. I'm gonna say fair.
Really?
I think he would have fetched close to $1 billion. I do. He was a pretty powerful hitter and best shortstop in the game, and capable of playing third base. I think he was a sexy. He would have been a sexy pickup. I think the Yankees would have really coughed up a lot for him.
Fair is probably the way to go based on the inflation of salaries. He was the trendsetter, right? 10 years, $252 million. Got flipped in 2004 after signing that contract. Well, after the 2003 season, I should say. After the 2003 regular season, postseason. So, he was the prototypical, what Steve Phillips called at the time, 24-1 guy. Now they've expanded the roster, so it's 25-1 guy. But for what he was doing at that time, it was phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal what A-Rod was putting up, what numbers he was putting up in Seattle. Now, if we are to believe what Rodriguez has said, he took the performance enhancers to deal with the pressure of the contract that he himself signed. That's fair. What the hell would he have done with $700, $800 million, $1 billion? What would he have done then? I'm very intrigued as to the lengths he would have gone and the measures he would have taken to live up to the terms of the contract. I'm very intrigued as to what he would have done. But talent-wise, yeah, he would have definitely been up there with Soto. Not deserving of it because nobody does what Shohei Ohtani does, but in this market with the insane inflation, yeah, A-Rod would have gotten his money for sure. This just came out today, so we'll see what you think about this. Fair or foul? The new rules for the NBA All-Star Game are great.
What are the new rules for the NBA?
I'm glad you asked. So it's a tournament now. It is a. We love tournaments. We love tournaments. We love tournaments. So it is a 4-team, 3-game, 1-night tournament featuring 3 teams of 8 All-Stars each, with the 4th team being the winner of the Rising Stars Challenge between the first and the second year players.
Jeez.
Yeah. The winning team in all games will be the first team to score 40 points.
Just stop. Just stop. Just stop having an all-star game. Just stop. The players don't want to be there. You've got to turn into all these gimmicks. I say this. I say you want the all-star game. Each team nominates one player, could be past or present, to represent them in a tournament. Tournament games are to 11, and the player is only allowed 3 dribbles each possession. That's it. And teams won't reveal who they've nominated until that night. So it could be like almost like a Royal Rumble.
That would be cool.
They play the music. The guy comes onto the court, and you play 2 games at once in the half court, because all you need is half court. So the East on one side, the West on the other side, and when it's all said and done, the East plays against the West, and that's it. The whole thing would last about 3 hours.
By God, he's cashing in his money in the bank.
Do.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Right. And that's the other. And you could add that element to it. If you win, once you become an all-star champion, at any point you can cash in your money in the bank and play the winner of that tournament anytime, anywhere.
It's the NBA Cup champions. What are they doing here? Like, what the?
Oh my gosh! Oh my
Stone
god!
Cold.
The humanity!
That man's got a family.
He kicked out! He kicked out! He kicked
Stone
out!
Cold. Stone Cold. Stone Cold. This is the most absurd shit. Our stuff in absurdity, right? In us trying to be funny, it sounds so much better than the shit that they put out there. So how are you deciding these teams? Right? How are you choosing? Yeah, okay. The fourth team is the Rising Stars. What about the other three? How are you deciding that? Is it fan vote? Is it what? Adam Silver is like picking names out of a hat? Like how does this work?
Quick, everybody, let's go to Adam's office, picking names out of a hat, just picking the teams. I can just imagine being in PR for the NBA. Like, fuck, how are we gonna spin this, man? And then as soon as the news breaks, like your phone just starts ringing. You're like, I don't want to pick this up. All right, here we go. Hey, Damian Carver here. Hey, David Aldridge, how's it going? Yeah, he's at it again.
Should have taken that.
I'm not really sure. We're gonna go pick teams right now, but we're excited. We think this is I've taken another call. Thanks. That's pretty much what you're doing if you're in PR for the
Should have
NBA.
taken a job with the MLB.
As soon as the shit drops, they all just start calling. Oh, that's another terrible job. Golden at that. What the fuck are you talking about? I don't know. He smokes a blunt and he starts talking. I don't know.
Yeah. No, some of this stuff is just absolutely friggin' ridiculous. And then what's the prize? Like, what's at the
why? You still haven't told me why I'm playing in this stupid game.
Well, naturally, I mean, we know it's the NBA, so the answer to all things is money. But how much money? Like, what is, what's going on? Like, it's in San Francisco. Okay, that's fine. What else is going? Flush this idea out. We need more. Give me some more logistics, because right now it's just not there. It's not there yet. At least the NHL, when they changed their format to the divisional 3-on-3 with the goalie, like, it makes semblance of sense because it's based on division. Okay, it's your three best players in the division and your best goalie. Okay, I can get behind that. There are more than three.
All right, so here's mine. If we do what I suggested, if you win the All-Star game, if you're an active player, you get to take 10 days off anytime you want without penalty. Right? And if you're a former player and you win, you get to add one win to a team of your choosing at the end of the season. Boom. Any team you want. It changes things, doesn't it?
It can't get any worse than the product that's already out there. And the incentive, there's no incentive.
I think there would be, I disagree with you. I think if you were to, because when you have a team game,
yeah, right,
it's different because everybody's fucking around. But if you do a 1v1 like Kevin Durant and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and you only get 3 dribbles, you need a lot of talent to get a basket, and you don't want to get embarrassed. You don't want to get beat like 11-2 or 11-5. You're gonna play. You're in front of a stadium full of people. It's just you. You're on TV. You're not gonna want to. They have that much pride, where you were nominated by your team. So if you don't want to go, you can say I don't want to go, and they don't nominate. Right? You can nominate the last guy on the bench to represent your team. That's fine. Whatever you want to do. But I think because that would even be more entertaining. Seeing the 6th man or the 7th guy or the 10th guy go up against pros or better players and come out victorious. Everybody would be going crazy for that guy.
It would be interesting. Like, there was I forget who brought it up, and we took it back to wrestling, so we'll stick with the wrestling idea. The worst player on the team tournament is very interesting. It was like somebody proposed a tournament of jobbers. The problem is that they wouldn't know how to win, so everybody was trying to lose. So, I find it very interesting. But I mean, granted, the worst player on an NBA team would still beat the dog shit out of any other person who ever stepped on the court. So we say it facetiously when we call them like the worst of the bunch, because they're not. They're you have to have some talent to be in the NBA. But just something different. It's just something different. You got to do something, or you need some other idea men. You just need somebody else to come up with an idea, because this shit ain't working. Like, none of this stuff, like, is he speaking like directly to the media? That's the question. Like, is he going to advisors? Is he going to be like, hey, let me run this by you before I go talk to Woj, or before I talk to Shams? Nah, fuck that. I don't need to do that. Shams!
I don't need to talk to anybody. I know what's best for my league.
Damn it. That's right. That's right. That's right. It's fucking right. So,
this is what we're going to do.
And you're going to like it. Yeah. Oof. So, that's kind of where the NBA is in a nutshell. And this is the reason why they are where they are. Now, somebody needs to kind of intervene here with Mr. Silver. Not all of your ideas are good ones. Let's be real. They're not.
Your favorite podcast has its own merch line now. Go to the Fade Store with DNZ.com today and check out our releases in apparel, accessories, drinkware, and more. Ever wanted an Alleged Superstar t-shirt? We got those. You want some yoga pants? We got those too. And we're not done yet. We have a lot of exciting collaborations and new products on the way. But check out what we have now at the Fade Store with DNZ.com. That's the Fade Store with DNZ.com. Who's the best of the worst this week in sports? The Fade Store presents the Alleged Superstar of the Week Award.
Alright, boys and girls, you know what time it is. It's time for the Alleged Superstar of the Week. You know how it goes. We put up a poll on our X account at FadeRouteDNZ and our Instagram poll at FadeRoute Podcast, and you vote. And you vote, and you vote, then you vote. And the winner of said vote gets a shout out on this here show and takes home the coveted ass trophy. And do you know who took home the coveted ass trophy last week, D? That would be the Chicago White Sox.
Ugh.
Worst team in baseball history, only good enough for the 10th pick. Well done, Chicago. Well done. But that was last week. This is this week. Who are your nominees for Alleged Superstar of the Week, D?
Alright, so first up, I've got the New Orleans Pelicans in the National Basketball Association. 5 wins in 27 games. Ingram, Zion, McCollum are all on the block. Zion, once the most coveted asset, is just another bust on the shelf. New Orleans Pelicans, you are my Alleged Superstar of the Week. Number 2, Will Levis. You're just bad, bruh. 12 touchdowns, 12 interceptions on the season. You're 28th in yards, 25th in touchdowns, 91st in interceptions, figure that shit out, and 33rd in QBR, figure that shit out. And your ass is headed back to the bench for Mason Rudolph. Will Levis, you are my Alleged Superstar of the Week, and I was going to go with the Chicago Cubs, but I'm actually going to go with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins getting benched for Michael Penix. 1 touchdown, 7 interceptions in your last couple of games, and I don't know what Atlanta's going to do. Because if they cut you, that's $180 million in dead cap space. And if they trade you, it's $30 million in dead cap space. So, honestly, Taylor,
I don't know what the hell
I don't know
thinking.
what he's thinking. Kirk Cousins, you are my alleged superstar of the week. What do you got?
I don't like that. I don't like that. Oh, Jesus Christ. So, you can't go wrong with any of those choices. You really can't. I'm going to start with Jonathan Taylor, though.
Oh,
yeah. So, about that. You're playing the Broncos. Broncos have a stout defense. Your team is holding their own. The Colts are holding their own in this game. The momentum is building. You break a run. You're about to score. And then you let go of the ball at the 1 yard line and fumble out the back of the end zone. Turnover, Broncos ball, and the Broncos never looked back. That was a pivotal moment in the game. Hold on to the ball until you cross the plane. It's not that hard, people. It's not that hard. Jonathan Taylor, you are my alleged superstar of the week. Number 2, Devondre Campbell. Dude. Once again, Kyle Shanahan's team is a mash unit. Guys are going down left and right. You know, it's what it usually is for the Niners, right? You just got Greenlaw back. Now Greenlaw's hurt again. So they turn to Devondre Campbell, who was starting. Like, we need you back out there. We don't have any more healthy linebackers. Nah, I'm not going to play. I'm good. What? I'm sorry? I didn't hear you. Yeah, you did. No, you guys speaking to my good ear. Did you say you didn't want to go? You're not going to play? That's what he said. Not only did he not play, he walked off the field. He abandoned his teammates. This is not a Vontae Davis situation where he's like, fuck you, I'm retired in the middle of the game. No, dude just up and quit on his team. So, not a lot of frosty feelings after the game, and the Niners have suspended Campbell so that he can't catch on someplace else. And it's for the best. Like, you don't do that. You don't quit on your team. Never, ever, ever, ever. If your heart's not in it, then you shouldn't be out there. And one of his teammates actually said as much. If you were feeling this before the game, ask out. We wouldn't think anything less of you. Devondre Campbell, you are my alleged superstar of the week. And then number 3. Well, here they are again. Manchester City. They're back. They're back again. That little break, that little win, it was just a slight, a minor delay, just a minor speed bump on this imperfect season. Losing to Man U 2-1. Man U's already sacked their coach. Rashford didn't play. Garnacho didn't play. I don't know what it's going to take for Man City to right this ship, but a 5-peat doesn't look like it's in the cards this year. Pep's got to figure this shit out because, yeah, it's just falling apart really, really quickly. Manchester City, you are my alleged superstar of the week. I think we said our piece. Go to our X account at FadeRouteDNZ. Go to our Instagram poll at FadeRoutePodcast and vote. And vote, and vote, and vote. And for our nominee.
You're better than that. Just do better. Just do better.
This has been the Fade Route with DNZ. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Catch our podcast on Wednesday nights on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen to your podcast. So until next time, stay fade, everyone.
Time for us to run the go route. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening to this episode of our podcast. If you liked what you heard and you want to hear more, be sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Leave us a review, rate us 5 stars, turn on subscription notifications, and share on social media. Tell your friends and spread the word.